Salut everyone! In this video, I'm gonna share with you 10 reasons why you should use CachyOS versus any other distro out there for gaming, content creation, and more. Are you ready? Let's get into it. As always, let's start with a little bit of context. I don't know if you know me, but I'm AirMax, and I'm literally the guy on YouTube who try all the distro installed on his hard drive, like no VM, nothing, like I'm installing the distro on hard on my PC to test them in some type of specific case scenario, which are like gaming, content creation. And I've been sharing my result for the last 3 years. One distro on which I've been like totally glued on for my main operating system is CachyOS. I've been running it for almost a year now, and I can't find any other distro that fulfill my needs at this level. And because of that, I'm gonna create a series of videos which includes this one, in which I explain, why you should use this distro, why you should not use this distro either, how to install it, how to take advantage of it. And it's gonna be a long series of videos, so I already encourage you to click on this like button and subscribe if you want to see all the other videos, because I'm going to publish them like in the coming weeks. But also, like, just subscribe to make sure that in the future, if I change my mind, you're going to be aware of it. But so far, this is where I'm at. Really important point. I am not sponsored by CachyOS. I have no link, like financial link with them. I know the team, but I also know the team of a lot of other like distros out there. I just want to make that clear. Like, there is no financial or any type of interest for me to push this distro rather than some other one. It's just my opinion, and yeah, that's all. So now we cover that. Let's start with the 10 reasons why you should use CachyOS. Reason number 1 is the fact that CachyOS installer is one of the easiest and most complete installer for any distro out there. Yes, I said it. I'm going to give you some examples. The first one is the fact that you can choose your boot manager with a GUI install. And I know there is some distro which are doing that, but not that much. In this one, you can choose between systemd boot, refine, and grub out of the bat. You have a total freedom when it comes to that. The second point I want to mention is the fact that you can choose your file system. And here the choice is pretty big. You have XFCS, you have BetterFS, you have X4, you have ZFS, you have F2FS, you have Bcachefs. You have so many choices there. So depending on your usage or your need, you're going to find your, I would say, like option out there, I'm pretty sure. And this is awesome. On top of that, you have also a lot of different applications. You're going to be able to pick it during the installer. And we'll do a more like in-depth video about that. But I would say here, the way they classify everything, make it like a breathe for all the users out there to start a fresh install of their OS. And just as a reminder, this distro is Arch-based, and making an Arch-based distro so easy to install with so many options is kind of an achievement by itself. So, pretty good job, CachyOS team. Now, the reason number 2 is the fact that CachyOS comes with a lot of desktop environment ready to be installed out of the box. And when I say out of the box, I mean that you can go from like a basic, KDE or a basic GNOME to a really good like pre-configured Hyperland or i3, for example, like Windows Manager installed. So if I remember correctly, they have like a 13 DE and Windows Manager ready to go from their net install. And this is a really good way for you guys to test a lot of those desktop environments and have a, I would say, like ready out of the box experience with this distro. So again, good job, boys. Now, reason number 3, and this one is one of the most important if you are a gamer or if you use your machine to do a lot of, like I would say, like heavy lifting, heavy workload, because they propose one, if not the best kernel optimization out of the box. Their custom kernel are literally so good that most of the other distros are based on this CachyOS kernel. There is a big uplift in terms of performance, and like not being using one of their scheduler or one of their kernel, and you are literally missing out when it comes to gaming. I would say, obviously, like some of the other kernel, like the TKG one, are living to the part, but the main advantage here is that those kernel are already precompiled by the CachyOS team. So on your end, you have nothing to compile. You just choose your specific scheduler, your specific kernel, whether it's a LTS or not, for example, or real time, and you just download it, you reboot, and you are good to go. So good performance and really easiness to install. So I'm gonna also make a video about that just to show you like how to install the kernel, test them if you want, the different scheduler. There is a lot, I would say a lot of things to say about that, but it's not the purpose of this video. But really, like this is a big point, because you're gonna have the best when it comes to like game performance and input lag. Like those kernel are the best. Now, reason number 4. Whether you have an AMD card or an NVIDIA card, in my case I use an NVIDIA card, you will have everything set up for your GPU to be working out of the box. So with my NVIDIA card, it has been the best experience, all distro like aligned. And I'm saying, like, when I say all distro, is like obviously you could use another distribution and configure it yourself, right? Install the driver manually, make sure that all the modules are correctly loaded, that all the different hooks are set up in a way that your drivers are perfectly working, and you don't get, you know, like what you would get, like stutter because you didn't load the mod set, for example, or you didn't put the right udev rule at the right place, and it's a lot of work. Well, here, it's already set up for you. You have nothing to do. You just install the distro, and the dev, they have a special, we'll talk about it after, they have special packages they will upgrade on their end, will upgrade your system if there is any change on the driver side. Like that, your system is always up to date with the correct way to load the driver. And this is a big value added because you're gonna gain so much time. It's just really cool. Reason number 5 is the fact that this distro is based on Arch. So there is a lot of distro based on Arch out there. I made a lot of video about them, but on this one, I have to say that CachyOS is respecting the vision of Arch. And by that, I mean that the way they build the distro is literally like if you were building Arch yourself. What is really great about that is like you're going to be able to take advantage of all the Arch functionality, like the AUR and Pacman. And, you know, I don't want to get too deep into it, but like this is Arch, guys. So you are not cheating on Arch by using CachyOS if you are a big Arch lover. Reason number 6. CachyOS, even if it's based on Arch, is the version, I would say, like cutting edge of Arch. So I'm going to give you an example and try to explain you really what they provide. What they provide is that they have a custom script that will modify certain of the package in advance. So some of the package which will be like in testing in Arch, for example, well, the dev of CachyOS, they will push them into their distro in advance. An example, 1 month or 2 months ago, NVIDIA released the NVIDIA 555 beta driver. And if you wanted to really take advantage of it, you had to patch Kwin for the KDE user, for example, and you would have the real experience of those drivers, which means you will have the latest beta driver, but you also have explicit sync enabled. And if you were on Arch, you could do it manually, and I made a video about it, but it would be like a lot of work. Here with CachyOS, all those scripts, all those modifications, they're gonna be done upstream. So the dev are gonna be doing it for you. You're gonna have to do nothing. And you're gonna have always the best experience, cutting edge experience when it comes to enjoying the new feature on Linux. And this, really good. So now reason number 7. And this one is super important. It's one of the big value added of this distro is the repo. And I'm talking about the repos themselves because what CachyOS distro really bring up to the table is some certain like cherry-picked packages are optimized for your CPU with specific optimized flag. How it works is like when you install the distro, there is a script that's going to detect what type of CPU you are. And depending on the CPU you have, they're going to align the specific repo, optimized repo for your own CPU. The uplift can be between like 5 and 30% depending on your workload on Linux. So I'm not creating those numbers. I don't know if you know, Phoronix is the leader in terms of benchmark for Linux, and he made, I don't know, like 3 or 4 articles about CachyOS optimization, and you will see the uplift is there. What you need to understand though is like if you are gaming, this uplift might not be translated into games because this is more like for like, workload on your PC. But I can tell you that in some application, it's good to gain between 5 and 30%, and you have nothing to do, right? It's part of their repo. They do everything for you, and you have everything optimized out of the box, which is just awesome. A second quick thing I want to insert in this reason number 7 concerning the repo is the fact that the repo themselves are some of the fastest repo I ever had. And I almost tried most of the big distro, I tried them. This is the only repo that can saturate my 1 gigabyte connection. When I download my update, I'm always at 1 gigabyte like locked, which is just awesome. So yeah, those are good. And now let's move on to the reason number 8. Reason number 8 being that CachyOS provides scripts and meta packages which are out of this world. Like they are so good that some of those meta packages are being copied on the AUR on Arch. But CachyOS dev was the one making them at the beginning. So you're like, what is a meta packages? Like what does it even means? Well, one of the most I would say popular meta packages from CachyOS is called gaming meta, I believe. So meta packages are packages which are englobing other packages. It's like a bag of packages. I don't know if it makes sense, but instead of having to install like all your packages one by one, you will install these meta packages which include all the packages related to something. So here, the meta gaming, you install it and you're gonna have everything ready for gaming on your distro. And you're gonna have Lutris, Mango HUD, Steam Native ready, all the things related to Proton, like everything working out of the box by just installing one meta packages. So I do believe they don't have Heroic Launcher in it, but still, like you have no dependency issue because this meta packages is going to install all of them and you're going to be ready to go to game. And these guys is just awesome. So they have a lot more of packages outside you can download and make your life easier, and we'll go more into, like we say, depth into that. But this is a game changer, in my opinion, to propose this type of meta packages, which make your life way easier. Now, reason number 9 is the Proton Wine CachyOS package. And this one is pretty good because it's the own native CachyOS Proton and Wine ready out of the box on your machine. So obviously you can still install like your favorite Proton version, like Proton TKG or Proton GE, or compile your own Proton if you want. But my point is that they come with a native version of Proton, which is really up to date and is gonna make your testing and your experience above any other type of Proton out there, because you're gonna be able to test a lot of new features. So I don't want to go too deep into it, but those Proton and Wine version of Cachy are just awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a straight example here. With one command line, you could use a native Wayland experience with CachyOS Proton. So you just add this command line and you are running native Proton. So it's still like in beta testing, but you see what I'm getting there, right? Like those packages provide a native experience of Proton and Wine. And guys, this is really good. Now, reason number 10, last one, is the fact that this distribution, even if it's really oriented toward like a desktop environment, could be turned for different usage. And you're gonna be like, what are you saying here, Max? Well, you could install CachyOS on an handheld machine. Yes, you could install CachyOS on your Steam Deck if you want, or on your Rogue Eye. And you're gonna be telling me like, but why would you do that? Well, why would you not do that? That would be my question. Like, I just give you 9 reasons why this distro is above the other one. Well, now you have the opportunity to use it on different hardware. And one being handheld hardware there. They have a special ISO, and I'm gonna make also video about it. But like, this is really cool to have this piece of art available on your handheld too. So that's pretty cool. Another usage I've been like playing with for I think like 3 or 4 months now. I've been using this distro on a server. And you're gonna be telling me like, why would you use that on a server? Well, you have to understand that all the packages are optimized. And if you look at those bench, there is a real value added if you compile a lot of things, if you are using applications which are like really like heavy on a daily basis, to use like packages which are like already like compiled with the right flag for your CPU. And it makes like CachyOS, in my opinion, a really good like operating system for the server side. So I'm gonna make a video about it too, because again, like I've been testing that for like 3 or 4 months, and the results are pretty good. Like I have to say, like I was a little bit worried about running Arch on my server, but it has been working like a breeze. But more coming for this one. Whoa, yeah, I was a lot. But I guess what? I'm not done yet. I'm not done. I wanna share like 5 points and or like 5 reasons you should not use CachyOS. And you're gonna be like, hey, Max, like you gave all those good reasons. I wanna jump into CachyOS and enjoy my time. Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that. So those 5 reasons are gonna be pretty quick. I won't get too much in depth into them, but you need to be aware that CachyOS, for the first reason, is based on Arch. Okay, and the fact it's based on Arch, you're gonna have everything, I would say, like related to Arch in terms of maintenance. So when it comes to maintenance, you need to know how to maintain an Arch distribution. If you don't know how to do that, it's going to be a little bit complicated, because the installation is going to be a breeze, everything's going to be working, but you're going to have like this little lack of knowledge, which can be a little bit stressful if you main CachyOS on your PC. So the reason number 2 you should not use CachyOS is the fact that if you have a really old PC, let's say it's like 7 years old, 8 years old, CachyOS might not be for you. And I'm saying like not be for you it might sound bad, but I'm not sure all those optimization related to their repo and their packages would be really useful to you, because your CPU is too old, your graphic card is too old, and installing CachyOS wouldn't be really a value added when it comes to what make this distro so good versus the other one. So keep that in mind. So now, like the reason number 3 is pretty clear. You should not use CachyOS if you don't want to read any wiki. If you are not willing to go, on their Discord and learn about the latest feature that the distro is providing, because this distro requires the user to still be on top of their game when it comes to maintaining their OS. So you're gonna have way less work than on a pure Arch distro, because most of the, I would say, heavy lifting is done by the devs themselves, but you still need to be on top of your game to know how to take advantage of the distro itself. So you're gonna have to read their wiki. By the way, their wiki is still under construction, but it's a pretty darn good wiki. I'm gonna put the link in the description below. I'm also gonna make a series of videos to try to show you like the rope for CachyOS, because I still believe it's one of the best distro out there for gaming and content creation. But you're gonna have to spend some time to understand what's going on this distro. So if you don't want to do that, just don't go with CachyOS, because you won't take advantage of it and you won't really, I would say, like appreciate it. Now, reason number 4, and I'm really picky there, but I do believe there is a demand for that, is the fact that CachyOS does not provide, even if they have one right now, which is still under construction, but CachyOS does not provide a really minimalistic script for installing the distro with the minimal or, minimal like packages, like minimal, like streamlined version of their OS. The fact that you have to go through Calamares, sometimes install packages that the end user might not need or might not want. And this is a little issue, in my opinion, because you can still clean everything afterward. But if you are a purist that want to install everything by hand with like a super minimalistic, even if it's not bloated, don't get me wrong, but like super minimalistic install, they don't provide that yet. And I think that it's going to be something they will have to go in the future for their distro to be really more like, like mainstream for the Arch purist, for example. And reason number 5, which is the last reason you should not install CachyOS, is the fact that this is a rolling edge distro. Okay, so it sounds pretty obvious, but I have to say it here. If you want a stable type of distro, you are not looking into CachyOS. And when I say stable, like, don't get me wrong. Stable means that the distribution itself is following a stable update cycle. And what it means, for example, like Debian, every 2 years or every year, I don't even remember, write it in the comment below. It's a comment bait here. Release a new version, and in between the update, they are just upgrading like the packages, but not adding new feature. Okay, so it gives you like this stable environment that some of you guys are really looking after. But here we are on Arch plus CachyOS, which is like the cutting edge of the best rolling edge distro out there. So I say best, I'm going to trigger some of you there. But you know what I mean, right? Like, you're going to be sometime facing regression. You're going to have a new kernel, which is going to give you a little bit less performance than the previous one. Why? Because it comes with new feature, and sometimes they are not implemented super well. It's going to happen, okay? But the real question you should ask you as an end user is that, are those little regression worth what CachyOS bring you on the other side? For me, I made my choice, obviously, but this is the type of question you should ask yourself. Is it worth it or not? If you are into stable distro, don't go there, but you won't have the latest feature. That's a question which is for you guys. So yes, now you know if you want to go with CachyOS or not. I want to conclude with something a little bit controversial here. I know some people are going to lose their minds, but I do believe that the CachyOS experience overall will give you a better experience for gaming and content creation than, for example, the Arch distro. And you're going to be like, what? CachyOS is based on Arch. But yes, I do believe that CachyOS is better than Arch, because if you look at the whole video, you're going to see that some of those little tweaks are not even reproducible on your end. Actually, you could reproduce them, but it will take you so much time to set up everything on a pure Arch machine that this distro value added is actually so big that you would have a real interest to running it versus a pure Arch. I don't know if it makes sense, but let's say you want to use, like, for example, like all the packages with the latest flag. It means that on your hand, you would have to recompile all of them. It's possible, but imagine the amount of time you're going to lose them. Let's say you want to have the latest kernel up to date with the latest driver installed. It's a lot of work to update your kernel, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. It's going to gain, time on your hand. And I know some of you guys love that. But for people who just want to have like an out-of-the-box experience, CachyOS bring everything to the table. And so that's why I would say it again, like this is going to give you a better experience, in my opinion, than a pure Arch installation. So think about that. Okay, I know people in the comments are going to be like, "Oh, I love Arch." I do love Arch too, but this is a reality. It's so good. And yeah, that's the reason why we're going to make a lot of video on this distribution. And I want to make this series about how to install it, how to configure it, how to play with all those tweaks. We're going to do that together. It's going to be awesome to make sure that everything is really on par with the distro itself. I'm going to have a close link with the dev to make sure that everything that goes on this channel is going to be like right and truth, because, we all make mistakes. I don't want to share like a mistake out there. So I'm going to be doubling with the devs themselves about all the content that's going to be pushed in the future. So that's going to be awesome. Also, I want to thank you guys for watching this video, but also subscribing and, supporting the channel in any way. I want to also give a special thank you to all the members of La Crème de la Crème Club, whether you are a YouTube member or Patreon member who are like supporting this channel financially. Guys, you are the best. Thank you very much for that. And yes, until then, guys, take care and see you in the next video. Bisous, bisous.